If you've watched a number of my book review videos, you know that there is a special place in my heart for South Central Pennsylvania, its rivers, and its place in fly fishing history. But of course, if I'm going to be honest, there's a region to the northeast of South Central Pennsylvania that has a much more prominent role in establishing the identity of American fly fishing. We'll talk about a book that explores it and its rivers today on Casting Across. Hi, I'm Matthew of castingacross.com, where I explore the quarry and culture of fly fishing. The book and the region I'm talking about today, Catskill Rivers, birthplace of American fly fishing. This book is by Steve Francis. It came out in 1983, and this second edition is from 1996. Before I talk about the book, I want to talk about this book. This is my copy, and it's quirky. The reason being, it doesn't start until you get here, about 4/5 of the way through the book. It was poorly bound. And so you read this part of it, then you flip it over, and you read it from here. And you have to go to the front to get to the end. That's really neither here nor there. It's just going to make showing it a little bit awkward and cumbersome. It actually really bothered me when I got this as a teenager, but now I kind of find it endearing and quirky, and maybe I have the only one. Probably not. So what does this book contain, irrespective of what it looks like? The first half of the book talks about the who, what, when, where, why of the Catskill Rivers. Why is this the birthplace of American fly fishing? Well, it's not necessarily the first place someone cast a fly to try to catch a fish, but so much of what we know as American fly fishing really was developed in this region. And the region, the first thing we're talking about. Of course, there are rivers there, beautiful rivers, teeming with trout. Not as many today as there was back then, but there's still a lot of really good fly fishing to be had. I maintain some of the best fly fishing to be had on the East Coast is actually had in the Catskill region, particularly on the West Branch of the Delaware. But this book, before I get to the rivers, talks about that history. There's the rivers, there's the region, and it was particularly primed for this because it's a very, very short train ride or car ride, even back at the turn of the previous century, from New York City. And you could make your money in New York and then go up to these resort areas and spend your money and your leisure time fishing and doing other outdoor activities. And so what really blossomed there was an industry that catered to locals, catered from out-of-town guests, but primarily catered to the New York City crowd that was coming up and enjoying time on the water. What also developed there, besides an industry and kind of a hotbed for a lot of people fly fishing, was effectively like the fly fishing personality. Some of the most prominent names you'd find there, the Gordon and the Wolf and so on and so forth. Fly patterns, fly tires, including a number of women fly tires, resorts and clubs, things that really spread up and down the East Coast and then out westward were developed as a particularly American institution here in the Catskills. Yes, they had a lot of inspiration from how fly fishing looked, especially in England, but it took on an American flair in the Catskill region. So after you get through that portion of the book, then you pick up on the river bios, and it goes through some of the rivers that you know, the Delaware, the Esopus, the Willamette, the Beaverkill, and a handful of others. And it talks about kind of the role that that particular river played, what happened there, and why it was one of the prominent rivers for this region for really the last 100+ years. Something cool in this book, which is going to be hard to find because the book is, of course, a little bit squirrely, at least the copy that I have, is there are these really cool maps in this book. Again, a large format book allows you to do some cool things. Lots of great pictures, and you can't have a historic fly fishing picture without that stringer of lots and lots of trout. It makes a lot of us clutch our pearls today, but back then it was just normal. But there's these almost like Lord of the Rings style maps of some of these rivers. Here's the Willamette. And it not only shows the river and its tributaries, where it flows into, but it gives geological as well as historic landmarks. And it's a really, really fun, quaint thing. There's actually a big one for the whole region on the inside and both covers. So this is a book you should pick up if you have been fishing this area and you want to know a little bit more. Now, are there particular books that detail each river in greater depth. Absolutely. I have books on the Neversink, books on the Beaverkill, books on the Delaware upstairs that go into greater detail and have more pertinent, up-to-date information on what it means to go fly fishing there today. But this provides a great kind of big picture view of the area. So if you fish there, or you're a student of fly fishing history, even if you're never going to fish, you have no idea that you're going to be fishing here anytime in the future, this is a great book to pick up, to scan through, and to definitely get to know a little bit more of your fly fishing heritage. Do you have a copy that's weird like mine? I'd love to hear. Let me know in the comments below. Then head over to castingacross.com, where there's 3 posts a week on the people, places, and things that go into the pursuit of fish.